Hey there, you guys. Welcome back. Thought we'd do a little bit of an update on the yard for July. Yeah, that's a month that just passed. Right now, it's near the end of July. I think it's July 29th or something, and you guys are going to see this at the beginning of August, but it's still July. Anyway, I wanted to show you what all's growing and what's doing well. So it's not going to be as long as the last video that we did on the updates. Because you don't need to see everything. I just wanted to take you through and show you what's noteworthy. One of the things is this tower garden. The green stalk tower garden is huge. I've been getting a lot of beans from it, finally. So let's just get to it. Let's wander about. Finally, we've got heat going on, and the elephant ears are finally starting to put on some nice growth. It's only been about a month of growth, so they're not that big, but they're coming. They're coming. Anyway, let's get to it. Okay, so here is the tower garden. It's about, I'm going to say 4.5, maybe 5 feet tall. Doesn't really look like it. It's really, really wide. So on the top I've got the konjacs growing, the Amorphophallus. I've got all kinds of beans sprouting. I'm going to have to come in and harvest these beans. Can you see them in there? They're getting big. I've been coming out every couple of days and picking a whole bunch. So now I'm to the point where it's hard to keep up. I've got a few peppers. These ones are, I believe, sweet chili peppers. They're looking pretty nice. The rosemary is getting shaded out a little bit. The parsley is looking good. The strawberries are starting to do their vining, so that's perfect. I'm going to start taking some of these off once I see a little bit of root development down on the base. And I'll start planting them in the garden somewhere where I can monitor them. There's more beans, lots more beans. The mint, this is chocolate mint. This one I just trimmed back yesterday. The basil has been trying to go to seed, so I've been pulling off all the flowers on top of those. Let's try to find, I love that this comes with the Lazy Susan. So, okay, so in here we've got a little purple pepper that needs to get picked, and there's usually more on the go. Here's another one that's just starting to turn purple, but there should be more little peppers starting there. And then over here, oh, there's the purple basil. We've got some little habaneros starting to grow. Where did I see them the other day? Right in there. See the little habaneros? So I don't know what I'm going to do with the habaneros. Not a really big pepper guy, but I'll give them a try, see how they are. So that's basically everything. It's mostly beans on here. I love beans. So let's go and check out something else. So over here, this is the Amorphophallus bulbifer that we got from Phoenix Perennials. It's doing beautifully. It's got such nice leaves. I love how they look like little palm trees. So very excited to watch that one grow. I'll probably need to get a bigger pot for it next year. Should have been in a bigger pot this year, but we'll see how the bulb grows. The Sansevierias are doing okay. They're a little bit sun bleached, but they're going to survive. Okay, so like I was telling you in other videos, this is going to turn into a garden along here. I'm going to do a garden along the fence over here, just to have a little bit more space to plant some stuff. And here, this elephant ear is doing beautifully. This leaf is a nice size. It's not as big as they've been in the past, but they're just starting off. Finally, they have the temperatures that they want. I've got this big Passionflower. I got this one. This one has the edible passion flowers, or passion fruits. So this one is Passiflora edula. I think I'm saying it right. I'm not sure. But the flowers don't seem to open very much. So we'll see how this one grows. It's only had 2 blooms so far. But hopefully it starts to produce some flowers that actually open fully. They just kind of open and then do nothing else. And I forget what this annual is, but it does really nice. It's vining really good. It's not as big in this pot. Over in this pot, it has taken over. This is the Alocasia lutea, and it's taking off really well in this pot. But this vine is growing like crazy. Yeah, and here is Amorphophallus konjac in a tiny little pot. These were just little tiny offset bulbs. So I'm gonna dump this out at the end of the season and see how big they are and space them out, because there's so many in here. They need a little bit more space. My cinnamon tree or cinnamon shrub is growing new growth. So this year it had a lot of dieback from the winter time, but it's starting to grow nicely again. So hopefully I can keep it growing nice. I did repot it this year. I think it was just it needed to get a new home. So it seems to be a little happier this season. Also, I cut it back a little bit, so that probably helped it out. Okay, so in this pot, this is the Nepenthes that I got from Brad. Looks like the Mirabilis globosa has died, but the other three are doing okay. They get direct sun, so they probably don't like that so much. They'll probably end up coming inside and enjoying a little bit better. I'll give them their own little grow light when they come inside, but they're starting to adjust. They're acclimating, starting to get pictures on the new growth. So we'll see what happens. We've got some Vanda and Vanda type over here. I try to give these a bath once a week. But I try to get the hose out and spray them, mist them, but they would like a little bit more water, obviously, than what I'm giving them. I might move them closer to the hose so that every time I water something, I don't have to pull the darn hose all the way across the yard. It's always a task to put it back at the end. So I've got pots over here. They're doing okay. This particular elephant ear, I forget what this one's called, Dragon Heart, I believe. Where is? That's the tag for the Diplo Dania. Sorry, I'm bringing you out of frame. There it is. I found the tag. This one is, yeah, Dragon Heart. This one is supposed to get big, but it's starting to fill in. I think last week I was still able to see this Diplo Dania, and now it's hard to see it. It's kind of just showing through the side. This Diplo Dania I got on sale, I think it was $1 something, and I love these flowers. I love the yellow one specifically because the petals overlap just so perfectly. They look like a little pinwheel. And then this Abutilon is finally starting to look okay. The problem with these Abutilons that have variegation is they tend to get burned on the tips, and I hate this brown grossness. I like if the leaves stay like this, but if they get too much sun, they easily burn. And also, it's hard when plants are mostly variegated, mostly white, because they're not really photosynthesizing the way that they should. I'd like to see a little bit more green in this, but it looks really pretty. I think if I wanted a little bit more green, I would need to take it into a little bit more shade. My own fault. So this garden's doing nicely. The bleeding heart in the back is growing beautifully. I'm actually surprised at how big it's gotten this season. I thought that it would have started yellowing out by now, but I think this area is very moist. So I think that it's holding in because of the really damp soil. If it was to dry out, it would probably yellow, and then I'd be able to cut it back. But it looks beautiful back there, and it's still producing a few little flowers. Let's take a look. It's got some white blooms that are out, as you can see right here. So cute. The pink ones are since finished, but the white ones are still going. We have this Trekkie Carpus fortunei that needs to get planted. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to put it, but right now it's staying in its pot, and until it gets planted in the ground, it'll go into the garage for winter. What else do we have here that's noteworthy? All of the hostas, well, not all of them, but many of them have been flowering. Some of them have already finished flowering, which makes me feel sad because I think of hosta as a late summer, early fall bloomer, and now I feel like the season's almost over. This poor choo-choo train, I think it's choo-choo train, nope, Jimmy Crack Corn, it's getting sunburned, so I'll need to get it into a shadier spot, or this tree here will have to grow a little bit better. It'll have to grow faster. so that it can start casting a little bit more shade. Alright, so the spider lilies are spreading out like crazy. These succulent pots are doing okay. I'm waiting for this guy. I think it's Lepidoptera. It's so dense, it's so rigid, it's so cool. It's supposed to have a pink flower, kind of like an ice plant flower. So I'm really looking forward to that blooming. I hope that it blooms this season. I don't see any buds on it. This pot here, I was away on a vacation, and when I got back it had dried out just a little bit too much, and one of the fuchsias died, so I replaced it with this one. At this time in the season it's hard to find good plants. Everything is kind of lanky and icky at the garden centers, technical term, and so I bought what I could. Everything's on sale, so it's not like I'm spending a fortune on something that looks like crap. Everything is cheap because it looks cheap. And I threw a little lantana in there too to add a little bit of interest. As you can see, since it dried out, there's really no flowers left on it, but I chopped it back, and now we're starting to get lots and lots of new growth, so hopefully that will transfer into lots and lots of blooms very, very soon. This is the Borneo Giant. Borneo Giant? Yes. And it's not so giant, but it's starting to produce nicer sized leaves. Here we go. Oh, this is the other succulent pot. It's doing not too bad. I thought that this cactus was toast. As you can see, when it got put in the sun, it got bleached out and it kind of died. But now I'm getting new growth starting up here. So it's still alive. Yay! So excited to see that. And these self-watering pots are doing beautifully. They're holding the water just right, and if I see that the water meter is getting too high, I just take the cork out of the bottom and let it drain out. The rhubarb is starting to grow well, finally. So next year I probably won't harvest any, but the following year for sure we're gonna have some rhubarb to make some rhubarb muffins and whatnot. The Brugmansia is being attacked by whitefly. I don't know whether you're able to see, but there's all kinds of whiteflies that are flying around here. Brugmansia is a big bug magnet, so it attracts bad things and I guess good things. So I was going to spray it to get rid of whitefly, but then I thought I don't really want to spray anything and stop the beneficials from coming as well. So I'm going to try to find some ladybugs to eat the larvae. As well as hopefully some lacewings will come in and eat the whitefly. So fingers crossed. I've been doing what people recommend, spraying it with a blast of water and trying to knock the whiteflies out of the air. And hopefully that helps the population or decreases the population. Supposedly it weakens them and kind of tatters the wings, and they are no good. They don't like that. So the Brugmansia is also starting to branch out, and usually when it starts to do the fine branching, that's when the blooms really start to be produced. So I need to try to put the fertilizer to this. It needs an ultra bloom fertilizer to really do its best. So I use Miracle-Gro Ultra Bloom. Can't even get my words out. So I've got some butterfly weed here. By the rose, it's doing nicely. The other day it probably was at its best, but some butterflies are here trying to land on it, and it's really, really nice to see. And then we've got this is the rose called Love. I don't really like the flower when it's fully open. It's kind of got this semi-double, kind of not quite double, where you get the center, but they just look kind of tattered and icky. So, but when they're first in their bud form and they're just coming out, they're so beautiful. But I need to cut these off today. I don't want to look at those anymore, and the petals are starting to fall. So it's time. So the Patora is starting to get nice new leaves. It's got some nice stuff at the base. I will chop off that icky leaf today and hopefully send some energy into a new growth. This is the Borneo King. It's finally getting a big leaf on it. Still very, very small. comparatively to what they were last year, but it's coming. And then this is the blue banana, a black banana? I don't know. It's still got green on the stems. It's supposed to be with a dark stem and trunk, but right now, as you can see, it's still just very green. And then this is Jack's Giant Alocasia, and it's doing okay. It's actually doing really well compared to the other ones. This one started off strong earlier in the season. Hopefully it gets to be taller. I think that these are supposed to get to be about 6 feet tall, and the leaves are supposed to get to be about 3 feet long. So we'll see how that does. Again, we only started getting good weather about a month ago, and it's been really hot ever since. So we've been trying to pile the water in and also fertilize regularly. We've got some hibiscus, so soon, by the end of next month, we should be seeing all kinds of hibiscus flowers. I've got one in the front yard as well that I can't wait to show you. And the banana is doing okay back here. It's finally starting to put on growth. It's not dead. I think in the last video I thought, I don't know that it's going to make it, but it's starting to put out some new leaves. So we've got another, I'm going to say 2 months worth of growing, so hopefully we see some more progress by next month. The Allium Millennium is in bloom, looking pretty nice, and this Japanese maple is looking not so bad. What else do we have over here? This is the Alocasia lowrider. It wasn't looking so good after I planted it, but since I planted it a little extra deep, we've got all kinds of little offshoots. So we've got all kinds of little plants here. So this guy is dwarf. I think it gets to be 18 inches tall maximum, but the leaves are really compact and crinkly and interesting, so hopefully soon you'll be able to see what those look like as they get a little bit bigger. We've got an Amorphophallus pianifolia. It's starting to put out its leaf, so that's super exciting for me. I think this is the first time that it's actually grown and had some time to produce a leaf. I think last year it started to grow, but then it had to go inside and it died a little too soon. So I was worried that it wasn't going to survive. And then back in the back we got Lime Zinger, Xanthosoma Lime Zinger. What's up here? Oh, the fun thing is here, the Amorphophallus titanum. So this one is the big guy. Just a little seedling. I thought it died, but it is starting to regrow, so I'm very excited to see that happening. This is the Frizzle Sizzle. I cut off all of its inside leaves. When it was inside, there was no curling of the leaves, it just looked raggedy. And outside, it puts on these beautiful curlicues. So happy to see that happening. I really like it this way, rather than the other way that it was in the house. So when it goes inside this year, I'm going to really pump the light to it to keep it happy. The garden here, the carnivorous garden, is not doing too bad. The wind took this poor guy and tipped him over. I tried to support him as best I could, but the tape kept falling, so it left it victim to a freak wind. The purpurea is looking really nice. I think there's some new growth happening there. I ended up buying a little Venus flytrap so that it can do its thing. It started to produce some flower spikes, but I ended up taking those off because I don't really care that it flowers. I just want to have nice growth. And this one is doing really pretty, doing really well. Still waiting to see if any new growth comes up. I think this one might be a new one. That looks different. So anyway, just waiting and seeing what happens. And this little Colocasia is doing beautifully. This one was overwintered in the garage. I thought it was dead, but it came back with full force, and look at it now. Wow. It's really a nice size, and it's going to get bigger. These leaves were almost twice as big as this one at the end of the season last year. So it gets to be a really beautiful size, and they're very rubbery. They're very thick. I very much enjoy this plant. So let's go around to the side of the house. I'll show you where the plumerias are and the dahlias, and I've got a cucumber, so let's check that out. Okay, so now we're at the jungle at the side of the house. I've been watering these plumerias once a week. They get the rain, but I've been actually watering them once a week at least with fertilizer. I'm using an Ultra Bloom fertilizer to promote flowering. I'm still not seeing any inflows, so I'm hoping that pumping the fertilizer to them will start promoting growth like that. I want flowers. I want to be able to see what color they are so I can get rid of a few. I don't want this many plumerias. I want about 4, maybe 5 if I can find 5 really nice colors. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest. I know a lot of my friends want some, and I will pass some off to them. But yeah, it's nice to be able to hand these things off to other people. It's been fun growing them, but I don't need them that many. They take up a lot of space as they get bigger. So right now I'm just waiting to see what color they're going to be. And here is my cucumber. I'm trying to train it to go up the chain link fence. And let's get a little closer down here. You'll see that I've got all kinds of cucumbers here growing. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 back behind there. Any more under here? 5. 6 right here. 7, 8. There's one getting big down here. 9, and then there's 10 and 11. So there's a lot of cucumbers growing on this vine, and I wanted it to train on the fence, because when the cucumbers hang down, you don't get the yellow spots like you do when they're on the ground, and also you don't get the flat sides. So they grow a lot better, a lot nicer. So a little trick, even if you have them growing up your fence on a trellis, it's nice. And then they don't take up all the space on the ground. I can still walk around, I can still walk past here. I'm going to try pumpkins next year as well, see how they grow. So that's super exciting. As you guys know, I planted a few bulbs of, what are they, gladiolas. So they're doing okay. All of them are starting to sprout. I don't feel any flowers starting to come up here yet, but it's still early. We still have a month or a month and a half before we expect to see blooms, because I planted them late. We've got dahlias starting to grow. We got some flowers up here. We've had some really crazy wind that have pulled the dahlias from the house. I should have tied my my tomato cages up to this electrical pole here to keep them from falling over. But soon I'll be able to cut some dahlias and bring them in the house. This one's quite pretty. The first couple of this particular type doesn't do very well. The flowers, the petals are all misshapen, but in a few flowers it'll be really, really nice. Let's look at this one. It's so cool. I like how this one's done. It's like a little patchwork of flowers. It's kind of perfectly imperfect, and I think that that's quite beautiful. Looks like I'm going to have some little orange pom-pom ones down here. And I wonder what this one's going to be. This one's super, super tall. Way up here. Super, super tall. I don't know what color that's going to be. I forget what I had downstairs. And then over here we've got black cherry tomatoes. Somebody posted a photo of their black cherry tomatoes on the Plants and Things What's Growing page. And there's such an interesting... Oh, there's a little toad. Can you see him hopping around by the leaf? Anyway, there's such a unique color. They're supposed to turn a little bit of a red as well. So I don't know what ripe is. So if you grow black cherry tomatoes, let me know when they're ready. I'm waiting till they look like this tag. So they've got purple, which is there, but there's a little bit of red. So I think that we need to wait a little bit longer before harvesting. And I've got some garlic growing in here. I don't think I made a video of me planting the garlic because it was so late. But I have one growing here. It looks like there's one starting to grow here, and there's a couple that are growing under the tomato here. They're probably not getting enough light anymore because the tomato got so huge, but it'll get enough to get them going. Next year, hopefully, I won't have to have all the plumerias back over there, or I'll plant them a little closer together to give myself a little bit more space. But I'm not planning on eating any of these garlic plants this year, or bulbs. I want to just grow a little bit of a garlic section. And I don't know whether I showed you, I think I probably did. We have this water barrel, a rain barrel, to collect the rain, so that's what I use to water these guys with. And over here we have the planter with the mandevillas. The mandevillas have been growing really, really well. I don't like how there's flecking on these flowers. They should be beautiful and just straight pink. But they're, I don't know, maybe they're just old. Maybe they've been beaten by the wind. It's very windy here, but they're not looking very pretty. And then we've got the white ones here. The white ones are looking really beautiful. And then down at the bottom I have Vinca. I'm not sure what type they are, but they're the annual Vinca. And I also have the hardy Passionflower growing in amongst here. It's doing really, really well. It didn't do much for a while, and then all of a sudden it just took off. So everything is almost to the top of the trellis. I've been starting to pinch things back so that they start to fill out. We're hoping to get a little bit of a wind break here, and probably by the end of the summer it will work. But right now the wind just blows right through, but it's really pretty. We don't want to not be able to see the farmer's field. So we find that to be quite relaxing to look out and see what's happening. The sunset is over here, and yeah, I don't want to block that view 100%. So we've got some morning glories growing up the fence. Hopefully we can do something to encompass the whole fence so that it doesn't look so chain link fencey. But I need to be careful with morning glories because they can get invasive. They self-seed everywhere. And down here we have some peas. These are snap peas, and I just planted these really, really late. They actually prefer to be planted in the spring. They like the cooler temperatures, but I planted them late, and that's okay. They might not grow as fast. They might have a little bit weird leaf growth, but they should do okay. I'll plant again near the fall or late summer so that they can get the cooler temperatures again. I might plant some on that side. So this Sum and Substance Hosta is growing like crazy, and it's finally starting to flower. This one needs to find a new home. It'll go in the backyard when I get the new gardens dug. It's taken over that area. I really don't like the way that this dogwood is looking scorched. It's either got a blight or a scorch. So I think I'm going to be replacing this out because I don't want something that looks kind of dead in the front yard. And it's probably a blight because I'm noticing that it's going to the turtle heads here. So I don't know. I'll look and see. Maybe a dormant oil can help that out. We'll look and see what can be done. If any of you have any suggestions for dogwoods, this is a flowering dogwood. I'm not sure. Stellar pink, maybe it might be a Kusa or a Satomi. I'm not sure 100%. It had 2 tags on it when I got it, so I don't know which one it is. This salvia, it's an annual. It's going like crazy. The bees love it. I love it. The chairs fell down. The big chairs that we had up here before, they fell into the garden and broke. I think it might have been these ones. Anyway, they fell down and broke some plants off, so this one is much wider than it used to be. And then this hibiscus, this is the ambrosia, the one that has the beautiful hot pink with the white center. This had a lot more branching going on, but the chair fell and broke off about 3 or 4 branches. So yeah, it's not as nice as it should be, but we do have all kinds of buds starting to grow. So soon enough, in a few weeks, we're going to have some nice, beautiful flowers coming from it. So we'll see. I'll take photos. You'll see those on Instagram, I'm sure, when they start to come out. So yeah, stay tuned for that. This bastard bomb is going to go into the back garden when it's complete, because it just looks terrible. Actually, most things look terrible in this garden. It's going to get a complete overhaul in a year or two. When I get things situated. I need to know where I'm putting things. As you guys know, this was the catch-all. This was the only garden that I had. So as I'm figuring things out, things are coming out of this garden. I just haven't been paying much attention to it. I've got the boxwoods. There's one boxwood there. Then there's one there between the salvia. I've got a hinoki fall cypress there. and another boxwood at the corner here. And the Japanese maple's staying. I believe that the hibiscus is staying. And like I said, I'm probably replacing this this boxwood, or sorry, dogwood, very, very soon, because I don't like it. I might try to plant it in the backyard. So I might not get rid of it totally. I might just transplant it and see how it does back there. So this is the front garden. Yeah, looking pretty good. Well, it looks like crap, but everything's growing pretty good in it. The planters are doing really, really well. This Plectranthus is going like crazy. Oh my gosh. I've been pruning this back. Every so often I come and I just snap off the growth tips, and it keeps it in check, and it actually gets it to grow more dense. So if I didn't do that, it would be a little bit leggy, but I've been doing that, I don't know, every 2 weeks, maybe every 3 weeks. I'm going to say 2 weeks. They're growing a little bit faster now. The verbena is looking amazing. What is this one? This is the a lotus vine. It hasn't produced any flowers yet. The flowers will just be a bonus, but the leaves are really, really pretty. I can't wait to see what the flowers look like. And then we've got some calibrachoas. I'm going to come in and I'm going to do a prune. Things are just starting to see how it's not really got any flowers up here, and they're kind of all right here. If I trim them back a little bit, it's going to push more growth up into the center point again, and make it a little bit more full. So that will happen very, very soon. Here is the middle pot. This one I have hibiscus. This hibiscus got pruned, and now it's starting to produce a little bit better growth. I started these little peppers from seed. These are little ornamental peppers. They're looking really good. And then the verbena is taken over. And we've got some calibrachoas over here. They're looking nice, and some creeping jenny. I like this pot the best, actually. And then this one here is looking pretty good. I like the petunias at the front. We got that Plectranthus over here, and then the same verbena. It's funny how the different pots, this one is planted the exact same as that one over there, and that one over there you don't really see this petunia, but it's there. And the lotus vine over here is not doing anything, whereas over on that one the lotus vine is huge. So very, very interesting. And just for general interest, we've got the garden between the houses. We ended up going with hydrangeas. Which ones are these? I think they're called Fire and Ice. There we go. Fire and Ice hydrangea. Summer to autumn, and well, we already know that, they're hydrangeas. And then we've got some bandwidth variegated grass, like a zebra grass. I put in a cute little peony. I really like single peonies, and it's a beautiful pink. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that one bloom. Hopefully it does bloom. And we end up putting rocks to edge this garden, because all of our drains go into this garden, and it pushes all of the soil out onto the road. So since the stones went in, you could see the washouts along here, but it's not washing out into the road anymore. So it's staying a little bit more contained. So that's it's working out well. So I hope you enjoyed this tour. It was a little longer than I expected. I guess my yard is bigger now, so even if I don't show you everything, when I do talk about something, it just goes on. So I hope you enjoyed it. Show me what you're growing. I'd love to see what your gardens look like. Post photos to the Plants and Things What's Growing page, and I'd love to see them. I've been trying to get on Facebook. I don't know what's happening, but Facebook is not working for me. Every time I log in, it's just loading, and then I get the page is not responding. So I am trying to look at it. I am trying to respond to things, but it's so frustrating. I get on it, and it freezes, and then I say, you know what? I've got other things I can do. So I'm trying to wait for things to get updated. Every other page is fine. It's only Facebook, so I think it's a Facebook issue. So anyway, still keep posting. I'll do my best to log in and wait for it to load. But But anyway, enjoy the summer, and until next time, you guys, happy growing.